Welcome to Wesley Impact. Later in the programme, I'm going to be thinking and reflecting upon Jesus and a parable about house building. We look today at how we help the homeless families within our Noreen Towers community in Sydney's West. And I want to introduce you to a man who's put faith into action through his work for Habitat for Humanity. Habitat has built something like 600,000 houses, sheltering more than 3 million people across 5 continents. It's a huge, huge portfolio of work. After years of travelling around the world, James Allardyce now spends more of his time in Australia, leading a team in New South Wales. James, it's a delight to have you on the programme.
Thanks, Keith.
But let's get to know you a little bit. You say that your home life was important to you. I know you're a Methodist minister's son, so you've lived in a number of places. But you say you hated school, and yet you grew up in a Christian home. What's all that about?
Oh, Keith, I guess your memory tends to be convenient. But my memory of growing up in a Methodist home was that it was quite disciplined, and there was an anticipation from the general public that even as early as age 8 or 9, I was a theologian. You know, I knew the Bible backwards and forwards, and that's that sort of unexpected and unrealistic pressure on a young life tends to push you the other way. So Dad was a very busy Methodist minister. He had a lot on his plate, and like a lot of ministers of religion seemed to have a lot of time for lots of other people. In my perception, didn't have a lot of time for me.
Sure.
So that was growing up as a Methodist kid.
Now, your first job was in insurance, and you loved the buzz of finance, but your faith roots became a distant memory during that time.
Yes, what happened was, as you grow up in a Christian environment, you go to church and you take in what you can, and your brain absorbs what you can. But when I started work, there was a real cut and thrust, and money became terribly important, and each year more and more money became more and more important. So the values that were instilled in me as a young man became very much pushed into the background.
Now, nearly 30 years ago, 1984, what happened then?
Well, 1984, I was living in country Victoria and had been drawn up to Sydney to be part of a fairly significant business conglomerate. And in 1983, I was made the CEO of the organisation, and in 1984, I peeled back all the layers of business and intercompany loans and all that sort of stuff, and found that the organisation that I was heading up was really basically financially not sound. So I sought advice and tried all sorts of options to save the company, and I put the company into liquidation in 1984, which was fairly traumatic.
Then that made you ask questions about yourself and your life?
Well, it did. I mean, here was all my energy had gone into building and being part of an organisation that built quite a significant corporation. We were represented around the world, and if you don't have your foundations right, you can certainly crumble, and that's what happened. And in 1984, I rather felt God had taken a 4x2 to me and hit me in the head and said, "Have I got your attention yet, James?" And it was then that I was...
Well, let me hold it there, James. I'm going to come back to that and something of your work with Habitat for Humanity in just a few moments. I want us to introduce you now to a wonderful and upcoming artist who's going to sing for us. Liz Cole is a very gifted worship leader and has become a regular on the show. I hope you enjoy her song, Famine in the Land.
There is famine in the land, yet the people drink and eat well. We are marching on hot sand as our skin burns and our throats hurt. There's a waiting promised land for the homeless and the rich man. So let me take you there. If I have 2 hands to save the world, I'll do it. There ain't nothing to it when I know you're on my side. Lord, I want to be a world changer, be a city on a hill that shines in the dark with the light of who you are. So let there be light. There are souls so starved and parched as they wonder if there's someone who will care about their hearts. As the good news emerges that the Virgin's child is born, there's a cross lit up by the morn. So let me take you there. If I have two hands to save the world, I'll do it. There ain't nothing to it when I know you're on my side. Lord, I wanna be a world changer, be a city on a hill that shines in the dark with the light of who you are. You are the light of the world, 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 you are the light of the world. And if you tell me, I'll stand up in this city and sing about your beauty as your seeds you sow into men. Lord, I wanna be a world changer, be a city on a hill that shines in the dark with the light of who you are. So let there be light.
To commemorate 200 years of faith and pioneering care in Australia, Wesley Mission has released a publication documenting its work in the community.
Everyone needs a little rest, everyone needs a little joy.
For more information on today's people, today's story, you can contact us on 02 9263 5555 or email us at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
So if you'd like to know more about Liz and her latest CD, then please click on Wesley Mission, Wesley Impact web address. We'd love to hear from you. We're back with James Allardyce from Habitat for Humanity. James, tell us about that work and what it is you actually do.
Well, I was drawn to Habitat for Humanity because it had a whole bunch of principles that I aligned with. We're not a welfare organisation, we're a self-help organisation. Our catch cry is a hand up. So we seek partners, families who would not normally have a chance to own their own home. And we work with them to build or renovate a house which ultimately becomes theirs. The process is quite lengthy. It can take up to a couple of years from choosing the family, going through the application process, finding out who the most needy is, and then working towards building the house and having it finished. The process again is about once the house is finished, it gets valued. 95% of the market valuation becomes the sale price. So we sell it to our partner family for that sale price. And how is it affordable? It's because we don't charge interest. So it's a really fantastic program that brings together individuals, gives them some skills to build their own home. We involve the local community where we're building. There's a lot of self-worth involved there. And we bring corporations like QBE, for instance, is one of our major corporates who provide the funding for us. But we have a wide range of financial support which helps us build houses.
And your background in insurance and brokerage hasn't been wasted, even if it was a bit...
No, you wonder at the time, Keith, as to what's going on, you know, this whole preparation for your life's work. So when I got tapped on the shoulder, I'd done construction, I'd been in development, done finance, and all of a sudden these were the sort of things that were required to get the Habitat program off the ground in New South Wales.
Now, there's around 30 houses been built in Australia in this kind of way. You must get to know these people quite well, really, over a period of time like that.
I do. The organisation here in Australia sponsors and builds about 800 homes, but in the near neighbourhood in places like the Philippines and Cambodia, Fiji and what have you. But in Australia it's a different case. It's very hard. Every house is, you know, $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 is required to build a house. So yeah, well, some of the happy moments is when you actually sit down like we are today and have a chat with a family and you're able to say to them, we want to offer you a partnership with Habitat.
Yes.
Well, they jump up and down, they cry, there's emotion, there's all sorts of outpourings of how they're really feeling and the relief that they've finally got hope.
Have you got a highlight in the work that you do, that something that stands out as a good, something that you'd like to say?
Yeah, there's lots, but I'll focus in on one in particular. We built a 9-home house complex out at Bidwell in Western New South Wales. About 50 minutes from the CBD. And it was quite a process to bring this whole thing together and build the homes and choose the families. And we were dragging the chain a bit. We didn't quite have the funds that we'd had hoped. And one of the families that had been selected was a Sudanese family. Martha is the lady who sits close to my heart. She's the mum. And we went and talked to the husband and wife and said, look, we're really, really sorry that it's taken so long to get started on this project. We've been started about 18 months earlier. And they both, great big beautiful smiles, they turned to me and they said, you don't have to worry, James. We walked across Sudan to get away from all the tyranny and what have you that's in Sudan, and that took 18 months. So we can afford to wait a little longer for our house. Marvellous moment.
Look, for you, has all of this been a faith journey or things that's happened to you through it?
Absolutely. Wouldn't be doing it otherwise, Keith. I mean, feel very, very strongly that part of being a Christian is you know, you give your life to Christ, and that's biblically what you're asked to do, to commit to God. And then you start having the Bible revealed to you and teachings revealed to you. Pretty clear to me, sitting in the pews, that was only part of it. The faith part was only part of it. Now I needed to get off my backside and get into action. So faith and action is required as a Christian to fulfil what God calls us to do. And this was an opportunity for all the gifts and skills that have been given to me over a long period of time that I could put to work and help change people's lives forever.
Well, thanks ever so much for that. And James, I know you're the chair of your own elders in your own Uniting Church there, and you do such a significant work there. We wish you well and the work of Habitat for Humanity in Australia and around the world. God bless you.
Thanks, Keith.
We'll be back in just a moment.
It's been 200 years since the first Methodists met in Australia. To celebrate 2 centuries of faith and pioneering care, CEO and presenter Reverend Dr. Keith Garner takes us back to where it all began.
But we don't begin here at the heart of London. We begin in a town in the north of England.
In this fascinating narrative, Reverend Garner chronicles the history of the life and times of the founder of Methodism, John Wesley. This fresh and thought-provoking documentary takes us on a journey throughout the United Kingdom, beginning in John Wesley's hometown of Epworth.
John Wesley was born here on the 17th of June, 1703.
This 1-hour DVD travels onto his education years and beginnings of social justice in Oxford, to his final years in London. For more information on John Wesley, the man and his mission, call 02 9263 5555 or email us at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
At Wesley Mission, we see how it takes just a few of life's circumstances to change, to see a happy home challenged to the very core. For Ella and her family, a rent increase, work strain and a dire medical prognosis in the space of just a few months brought challenges that were all too much to bear. Let's take a look at how our work at Noreen Towers Community helped Ella and her family to find their feet again.
Hi, my name is Lela Wolf and this is my story. When we first arrived in Australia, I never thought in my life that, one day we will have no place to live. In 2011, we were running out of our lease. At the time, the landlord was wanting extra on top of what we were paying. We've been in that place for 5 years. We were looking for houses for 6 months. We also had 7 children at the time. It makes it so difficult to find a rental place. My husband then became very ill. He has muscular dystrophy disorders. There was one stage that I was away for 3 days from work and couldn't complete what I needed to submit. So hence the reason why I had to step down and take care of my family. At the time I was feeling anxious and not knowing where to go. It was just too difficult for me. We heard about Wesley Mission through a friend of ours that used to live across the road, and she just told me about this place where people could go and have a bed. And then I phoned up and found out that this is what they do.
Here at Wesley Mission Noreen Towers, we have 23 3-bedroom units. So the key there is that it is for families. So we're unique. We do a range of parenting groups. We do informational workshops so that parents get some skills to help them to get back into the community. We also do a lot of programs for the children. Layla and her family first came to Wesley Mission. They'd been doing really well, and then due to a whole range of things, their family found themselves homeless. I'm looking forward to seeing her and hearing the next phase of her story and how her hubby is doing, because he was so unwell.
The staff at Wesley Mission were incredible. They were very friendly, compassionate. They were so welcoming. When we walked in, I had a sense of relief. For me and my family, it was haven. It was security. I was safe knowing that my kids had a bed. My kids had a place to live in. My main priority was the safety of my family. Life for our family now, it's great, it's stable. Unfortunately, my husband couldn't be here. He's still recuperating, and we're now living in a wonderful 6-bedroom home. We've got wonderful children. We've got a great church that we go to. So everything is working well for us. So praise God for that. I'm sure if I didn't have faith, I wouldn't have made it through. I think there's a great future ahead of me and my family, you know, and I know it's going to be a brighter future because God is always good. I would just like to say to Wesley Mission, thank you for the opportunity given to our family. And it's awesome that Noreen Towers is available. It's a wonderful place. It's great work that they're doing, and all praise to God that they're able to provide that for our community.
Jesus' Sermon on the Mount in Matthew's Gospel stretches over 3 chapters, 5, 6 and 7. And it's as the sermon draws to a close that we have this lovely parable of the wise and foolish builders. It seemed to me to be appropriate because we've been listening to James talking about the work of Habitat and how important it is to be building houses to enable people who are fiscally challenged, who can't afford houses otherwise, in a partnership to actually own their own house and actually buy their own house to make it possible. Now, house building advice is very, very important. And it seems to me that the advice that Jesus gives, very sound advice. I'm sure everybody in the building industry would say this is obviously sound advice. But I think it's more than just advice about building a house. I think it's advice about building life. It's about those things that are fundamentally essential, whoever and whatever we are engaged in our lives. And it has this comparison between 2 builders. One is wise and one is foolish. One builds on rock, one builds on sand. So the comparison is so very, very important. And the comparison doesn't end there, because the comparison concludes of what happens when the rain comes, the streams rise, and the winds blow. And one comes down with a great crash. Now, firm foundations in life are absolutely essential. We can't live life without them. And I think when Jesus is saying these things, as he draws to the very end of his sermon, you can imagine him looking at people and saying, you've got to make a choice. Do you want to build on something that lasts? Do you want to build on something that will fall? And if you're really, really going to be sensible, you'll choose the way that is going to be a way that lasts. And of course, you have that lovely ending then to the Sermon on the Mount that Matthew gives us. When Jesus finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching because he taught as one who had authority and not as their teachers of the law. He didn't only have authority, I think he had a lot of common sense too. And he knew, and I know, and we know, that building on firm foundations is absolutely essential. If you and I are going to stand at the very end, we must be able to build on the rock of Christ. Now, what does it mean to build on the rock of Christ? Well, it means to take those values that are absolutely essential and say, these are the things by which I'm going to live. To be able to focus on that purpose and intention that is there before us and say, those are the things that are going to be my things in life. And in private conversation with James, I know that Habitat is building in a prison. Actually, prisoners are actually putting together a house that's then transported elsewhere. I think 3 houses have been built in that particular way. And materials have to be taken into the prison and out of the prison. And the materials that are taken into the prison have to be checked off to make sure that they really are only taking building materials into the prison. And you know, it's so important to build with the right materials on the right foundation. What are you building your life on? What am I building my life on? Now, that's a good question. And it's a question that Jesus asked not only to listeners on a hillside all those years ago in what we know as the Sermon on the Mount, but to hear him asking that question of us today, to say, what are your foundations? What are the fundamentals of your life? What are your values? Do you live for yourself? Do you live for others? We also heard in that interview a little bit how life can come apart without you ever really expecting it to. So suddenly it comes from left field and suddenly it invades your situation. And you may have everything going for you. You're CEO of a company that's doing remarkably well 1 minute, and the next moment you find yourself up on your uppers because there is something real happened that you didn't really expect to happen. Now, that can happen in life. And in a way, that's a little bit like the storm that comes. The rain comes, the streams rise, the winds blow and beat against the house. And it either stays firm on the foundation of a rock or it falls with a great crash. So the choice that you and I make is between a foundation on a rock or a crash. And that's all to do with foundations. What about the foundation of Jesus Christ for you? Have you put your trust there? Is your life built on Christ? We certainly would want to, through the work of Wesley Impact, to commend that way to you. We work in so many different areas with people all across New South Wales and even beyond, where we're trying to help people to get their lives together. I don't know of any better way for your life to be put together than to build on the rock of Jesus Christ.
If you would like to know more about today's topic or for more on Keith's message, contact Keith by writing to Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A5555, Sydney South 1235, or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Many thanks for joining us. I want to leave you with a beautiful, uplifting song by Sheila Mapufu called Everyone Needs a Little. And if there's someone you can encourage today, then do so. Until next week, goodbye and God bless you.
Come lay your let you down.